Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at this cheap little Bluetooth LED controller. So this is about $15 for the controller here, and a roll of this stuff costs like $13 to $15. And of course that's your standard 5-meter length, and it should be able to control the entire 5-meter length of it. I've just got a little segment here to do some testing on it. But this thing I think is actually an RGBW LED controller, which means that it also has the ability to turn on and off a strip of white LEDs plus the RGB. So I'm probably not going to use that, but the option is there. And this has several features that are covered up by this sticker, but I think it actually has like beat to music and that kind of stuff, like fading and all kinds of stuff like that. There's not much iOS and Android. There's a wiring diagram. So anyway, we'll go ahead and open this up. You've got the installation software there, Android QR code and iOS QR code. So anyway, and then the device itself has got a little button on the top of it. I'm kind of thinking that's for pairing the device, but I'm not real sure. There's a power thing here, which is probably just an LED because there's no button there. This is your power input, and then these are for the LEDs out. So you have two of these that are V+, so that's going to be the positive side of your LEDs, then RGB, and then the extra white LED strip. So it should be fairly simple to hook up. But first, let's go ahead and get this app. So I should be able to go into here and look up Magic Light V2. This is dash BLE. So that's this right here. Looks like the same symbol. Go ahead and install it. Say continue that, say skip to that, and then accept everything else, I suppose. Now, I should also mention while this installs here, I actually make Wi-Fi versions of these as well. The Wi-Fi ones are about $18, the Bluetooth one's like $15, like I said. But it actually seems fairly nicely made. Just plastic, but seems solid enough. There's not a whole lot of weight to it. See what we have in here. Probably Apple wants to turn on Bluetooth. That's okay. Probably going to have to. And it's probably not going to find anything because this isn't on, but it'll probably have to pair it too because it's Bluetooth. But there's the app. We'll go ahead and hook this thing up here. And I was kind of wondering what kind of power source that I even have laying around for this because I don't have any more 12-volt adapters, but I do have the big battery bank here. This is the lithium-ion thing. Go ahead and loosen up all the terminals on this thing. I'm not going to hook up the white LED strip to this at this point because I don't really have any use for that, and if everything else works, I'm sure the white would work just fine as well. And I think the white LED strip is dimmable too, so you've got that going for it, and I'm hoping that the color on this is right. I'd imagine it is, but we've got, I think V+ should be the black wire, and then red, green, and blue will be the red, green, and blue wires, presumably. That's how this is set up. And I don't know if it's soldered on here right. I'd imagine it is, but we'll see. And these are really thin little wires on this for the 50/50 LEDs. This thing's pull. It probably doesn't pull too much current because they are 3 LEDs in one package, and every single one of these wires only has to power one of the LEDs. So it's probably not as much current as I would think that a standard 50/50 LED strip would take. But we'll see. Obviously this is like a 6-inch piece or something, so. Alright, so that was simple enough. Just screwing in the terminals there. Now all I have left to do is hook up the power source. Should also be simple enough. We're going to plug this handy dandy little adapter that I made in. Switched output, and then plug this in here, and it should be center positive, right? Yeah, center positive, that'll be fine. And we'll turn on this main switch here. Alright, so it's already starting to do something. Looks like it just turned them all on, but I do not have red in there. Red is not on. Which could be because this LED strip sucks, could be because I didn't get a good connection, or could be because this doesn't work, but we'll see. We'll turn on the app. I imagine this is like a pairing button. Or maybe it changes modes. Or is it a reset button? Looks like a reset button. Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. So we can add that device. Presumably we can add that device. Now let's change this to like... firm. Alright, so that turns it off. It does look like there is red in there, but it doesn't look like it's being turned on for some reason. Slide left and right to enjoy more functions. Okay, that's cool enough. Disco, camera, scene, custom music, functions, warm white. And I turned it off, didn't I? It doesn't look like the red is being driven very hard for some reason. Maybe it's just because it is putting like white out there. I don't know. Is this actually live changing? Let's go back to colors actually, because that would be more fun. Okay, so I said it's red and I have blue. Set it to green, I have red. Set it to blue, I have green. So, yeah, the wiring on this, presumably the wiring on the LED strip isn't right. And I can change the brightness too. That works, 0 to 100%. And there's buttons that you can customize, presumably. So I'm going to have to flip the wiring around on that real quick. Alright, now that I've got this thing set up properly, unfortunately my LED strip, the wiring that we cut off here, it does not match the actual colors of LEDs. So they've put the wires on here red, green, blue, but the pattern on the LED strip is actually blue, red, green. So I've got that hooked up the way that it should be now. Just know that's a fault of my LED strip, not the fault of this thing. But we'll turn it back on here, turn our power on, go into the phone here, and because I reset it there, I had to reset that. But it looks like, you know, we get green. We have red down here. We should have blue down here. So that actually works quite well, and we have like white toward the center, sort of yellow out over here. Tell you what, the LED strip's actually pretty bright, and we can adjust the brightness as well with this slider here. I'm not sure how well the colors actually show up on camera. So let's see. That's with everything at 255. Can I manually adjust the red, green, and blue? I wonder. Doesn't look like it. Some other stuff there. So you can have multiple devices set up on this, so that's pretty cool. And I've called this one LED PC setup because I'm going to either put this on inside my computer, or I'm going to put lighting on my desk on the outside of the computer. So anyway, we have warm white apparently, and we can adjust what that ends up doing. Looks like, I don't know, it doesn't do anything. That might be the that might be for the white LED control on here, so I won't question that too much. We have functions, so we have quite a few different ones. We have 7 color crossfade, red gradual change, green gradual change, blue gradual change, yellow, cyan, purple, white, red. Oh wait, we got crossfade. Red, green crossfade. Red, blue crossfade. Green, blue crossfade. 7 color strobe flash. Red strobe flash. I didn't think there'd be this many of them. I'll just kind of let you read through all these. I guess we have some other stuff. 7 color jumping change. And you have a speed control down here too. So 7 color crossfade. Doesn't actually seem to do anything. I've got red and that's it. Turn up the speed. Okay, it is doing something there. So that's kind of neat, though. A lot of those look like they end up being white. And is this speed control, I wonder? Whoa, strobe warning. You can actually change the speed of the strobe. That's kind of neat, I guess. So you can get different strobes. 7-color strobe flash. Which it is just a really brief pulse. I can't even hardly tell what color it's supposed to be. And you get these red, blue crossfades and things like that. So this is actually a pretty neat little LED controller. It's working really well so far. White gradual change. I wonder if that's like fading. Looks like it's fading. And white with these is a really cold white too. It doesn't look very good. Cyan, gradual change, all kinds of stuff. And back to that 7-color crossfade. You can change your speed and stuff like that. And then these just change which function you're on, apparently. And then you have the speed slider, so that works fairly well. This one seems really slow if you don't crank it up a little bit. It's not like a continuous 7-color crossfade. It's kind of like it goes to one color, stays there for quite a while, and then changes, which I guess is okay. So we have a music function here, so I may have to go and like find some copyright-free music or something like that. I'm not sure what I have. Alright, so I went out and found some actual known copyright-free music, and we'll see what we can get here. Colors don't really show up that great on camera, by the way. And this does have some rubber feet at the bottom, which actually do a pretty good job of keeping it in one spot. So it defaults to rock, I do believe. Like you said, it's a normal and different stuff like that. Jazz, I think it just changes the lighting color. Or classical. So I guess that's kind of neat. It just basically flickers the LEDs to the music. Not too impressive, but let's see what else is here. You have customs. You have not add custom mode. Please click add button to create a custom mode. Custom mode, blah 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 blah. Click the button, change color, and delete color by long pressing. Okay, so we can do that. Just slowly fade between red, green, and blue. I don't know, we say this is like RGB fade or something like that. RGB fade. Save and see what we can do here. Oh, guess you can edit it. Send that. It's just gonna fade between the colors. That's what I'd imagine. See, that's kind of the thing that I like with RGB LEDs is that exact color pattern. So I guess you can set up your own if you like, which is kind of neat. So it just fades between all three colors, so that's pretty nice. What else we got? We have disco, and this actually looks like it's a microphone thing. So if I turn up the microphone sensitivity there, you can kind of see what's going on with that. What else to say? No, you can click home to back the phone's location screen, and then any app, and your lighting dance will continue to the music. So this will actually run in the background as well, it looks like. And I don't know, I guess that green circle indicates that it's well, actually, it looks like it indicates the color that it's putting out, as well as indicates that it's actually turned on and how bright it is. And I can turn up the sensitivity a little bit more just to have that turned up there. So that's kind of neat. There's one with a camera here too. Let's see what that does. And it looks like, oh, that's kind of neat. I guess it tries to follow the color that's on, or you find the color, okay? So if I point at that white spot where the light's pointing at the desk and then I say color picks, it actually picks that color. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't look like it's very accurate, of course. Let's see here. This will probably show up as white too. Let's see, green. You see there's kind of a preview window right there. Yellow on this connector, kind of a darker color. Black. I wonder what to do with black. Yeah, it actually does turn it off like you kind of expect it to do. Or you can do manual. There's automatic and manual. What's the difference? Automatic. Oh, okay. So it sets it to whatever you have it pointed at, which is a little crosshair there if you can't see it. But it just changes it to whatever it's pointed at, which is kind of neat. So if I point this around the room, the walls are white in this room, so it doesn't really do a whole lot. Okay, so point this at a green folder. Yeah, the color calibration isn't all that great. But anyway, the manual, I guess, is just to manually touch the button when you want to do that. So we also have scene, dusk, coral. Alright, so I guess that's not a whole lot to that there. And this says warm white on it. I'm wondering if that's just for the output of the white LED, because it doesn't seem to affect this at all. But anyhow, it looks like it just kind of, I don't know if that's like brightness control or what. I guess it is. I guess it's brightness control. But and then what's this, on and off like that? Yeah, looks like it. So there's not a whole lot to this. Doesn't look like. This LED strip sure is getting hot. It's not really being overdriven either. But also I should mention, it looks like it does have proper 8-bit PWM, as you'd kind of expect for any type of a microcontroller really, but you see the RGB values up there. Unfortunately, I would have liked to seen it if you could like manually type in RGB values instead of having to use this color wheel here. But I guess it works, and you can change the brightness. So, and you can set DIY colors there too. So say you just wanted straight blue, which you should be able to get right there almost. Kind of touchy. Of course, it's a fair bit of range there that you have. Actually, doesn't look like I can get 00255. You can come pretty darn close though. Alright, so I'm gonna have to settle for this. The red is just on a little bit. Can't even tell by looking at the strip, but I think if I just hold this down. No, we have the color selector. So let's say, should start at red, right? Go red. Can't really do anything by hitting that. Not like any presets in it, just that wheel. But then we can say confirm. Make another one. Red, we go to green. Which makes it kind of a nice lime green color, actually. It's about the same color, somewhat. On camera, it's probably just showing up as white, but anyway, confirm that. Whoops. That button on top of there, I think, is just a reset button, by the way. It doesn't seem to do anything. But if it hasn't lost connection because I hit the reset button, I should be able to go between red and green now. Yep. Red, green, blue. Okay. Red, green, blue. Actually, I do want a white one. And then I kind of like a warm white as well. So, yeah, my custom colors aren't that amazing. Be nice if I could figure out, because everything that I seem to be able to do with this ends up with cool white. I can set it to yellow. Actually, looks like right in there is kind of the region where I need to be for finding warm white. That right there actually looks more like white on the LEDs to me. You can kind of see down here what the color it thinks it is, and then the color of the LEDs is actually white, and the connections aren't very good because that thin little wire is just kind of getting yanked out of there. Looks like I still got them all hooked up though. And it did lag out a little bit there. I spun this around a few times and set it to white in the middle. It's not quite instant response. It takes a minute for it to settle in. I've moved this a little bit. I kind of think that bouncing the light off of this thing, since it's white, is actually going to look a little bit better. But you'll see the presets there. You'll see what they do. And then you can just move this wheel around wherever you want to and pick a color. So you got a nice pink over here. Looks like there's only the ability to set 5 presets, which is kind of unfortunate because I would like to have, like, you know, the red, green, blue, and then some other ones. I imagine that they intend you to hook up warm white LEDs into the white one because you have warm white control. But really, to be completely honest with you, this thing for 15 bucks makes a pretty good little LED controller here. This part itself isn't actually getting any warm, the LEDs are. I think it's ready to handle 6 amps, so it should be the entire 50/50 LED strip turned on white, which is fine. I'm not it actually might be 6 amps per channel, which would be like 3 of these strips hooked together, so that'd actually be pretty neat. But anyhow, this is a 7-color crossfade inside this function menu, and you can also do the weird things like the disco, which is, I guess, kind of cool that you can do that. So there's even more features in this thing apparently. We have a timer function, and we haven't added a timer yet. And if you do say add timer, we have the time that it sets to, which it's in military time. I don't know if there's any way to change this out of military time, but it's got this kind of a rotary thing. So I think 19 would be 7 o'clock in the afternoon, which is where it's at now, and then a minute of 45 will be in about 2 minutes from now. So we're going to confirm that. We're going to turn the timer on, and you can actually say, you can set repeat days on it. So that's kind of neat. And we have a mode, and it looks like it says it's optional, but I'm not entirely sure what it does if you don't set this. Maybe we have to find out, I don't know. But we can set it to, say, go to green or something like that, or we can actually set functions as well. And we just have brightness for the LEDs and brightness on the warm white LED strip, which I don't have hooked up, but I'm sure it works fine. So we'll say confirm on that, and then probably have to save it. So it should turn on green at 19:45, which would be 7:45. So now we just have to wait a minute and see if it actually does it. Right now we're kind of set at a weird off-white color. And also I should mention this, if you want to turn it off real quickly, you can just hit that button up there, and that'll just fade out all the colors, or you can turn it back on. So there's a button there, and I think back on this main list page you can actually do that as well. Turn it off or back on. And there's a warning in there, if AC power is lost, the timer won't work, which is presumably just if this doesn't have power to it, it won't work. And you see, there we go, it changed to 7:45, and it actually did slowly just kind of fade up to our color that we set. So that actually worked quite nicely. And I probably have to go in here and delete the timer manually here, because it might actually repeat it on its own. I'm not real sure. But anyway, that seems to work just fine. So I haven't found anything in this that doesn't work, and the only thing I haven't tested is the warm white LED strip control, which would just be a second LED strip that you put between your white control and the other V plus terminal on this. So I bet you that works just fine, and we have this add mode thing, which, like I think I mentioned earlier, this is kind of what I like to do with the RGB stuff, is just have this slow fade in and out thing. So that does pretty good actually for what it, for that. And of course, like I said, you can just manually set whatever color you like as well. So anyway, pretty nice little Bluetooth LED controller. This is a reset button. So anyhow, this thing actually makes a pretty nice little Bluetooth LED controller. Like I said, there's also a Wi-Fi version. Wi-Fi version is a little bit more expensive than the Bluetooth one, and honestly, I kind of like the Bluetooth one. Seems to work just fine. I imagine the Wi-Fi one works just as well. But anyway, works nicely. I was actually kind of surprised the app and everything worked really well. The English seems okay in it, not like really horribly translated Chinese to English, but works nicely. One thing that I would like to see, which I'm sure would just come in a software update, would be like a proper sort of VU meter with this, as well as, well, maybe not this so much because this is supposed to be a disco mode, but I'd like to see it with the music mode, because really what it does is it just picks a random color and then it flashes the light at a different intensity based on how loud the sound is. But what I'd really like to see, with the music mode at least, is to have like green being really soft sounds, red being really loud sounds, blue being really quiet sounds, or possibly having green being low frequencies, blue being your mid-tones, and then red being the highs, or something like that. That would be kind of cool too, and then just flash the colors to whatever matches that. I kind of like to see the color change based on the brightness, though, or based on the loudness of the music, not just based on some random color selector here. But anyway, it does work pretty well. It does what it's supposed to. A little reset button on the top here and a really dim red power light. But anyway, it seems to work. I kind of like this thing. I'll put a link in the description to it. And I think this is rated to handle 6 amps per channel, so it should do fine with a full-length 50/50 LED strip. Should be plenty of power to be able to run one of those. But anyway, that's about all I have to say with this thing. It's kind of a neat little device to play around with, and probably use it for my computer setup somehow. But anyway, that's it for now, guys. Bye.